swings.
You're asking me if the stock market is at a bottom?
Are we bouncing along the bottom? Yes. Or how would you describe the next year if you were to look at it? What do you think?
I'll tell you guys some stories. I went to a conference in March with a lot of fund managers, probably managed several $1 trillion in total. People were like in shock and awe at that conference because they had taken such significant write-downs and they were still getting written down. So all their investments were off. They were off 40% from the peak. They were freaking out. Things were collapsing. No one was doing anything. They were all sitting on the sidelines, hanging out, waiting. I went to a conference last week, and so the tone and the demeanor was just like morose. Last week, I went to a conference with a lot of managers, also probably managing trillions of dollars across the pool. And people were just they had accepted this new reality, and they were kind of willing to look at new things. And, they were no longer engaged in trying to shore up just their portfolio. And a lot of the stuff we talk about, which I think is tactical on the ground, how do we deal with our businesses and our portfolio of investments that we actively work with in the private markets, they were much more interested in kind of starting to explore and think about new things. And I hadn't seen that 3 months ago. So
that's a positive sign.
From a market participant point of view, I think that folks have kind of accepted a new normal, an inflationary normal, a high volatility normal, a normal of uncertainty, a normal of kind of recession. And as people have started to kind of internalize that new normal, I think they're now starting to say, okay, what should my action plan be? And that action plan is, I've got trillions of dollars of capital sitting on the sidelines. What should I start to do with it? So, my very, very, very anecdotal experience has been that significant market participants, I think, are going to start to perk their head up this quarter and start to think about doing new things. What that translates into in terms of stock price movements and indices, I don't know. I've always said that there's going to be a huge variation in outcome during this year. And some industries, some sectors, some types of businesses will outperform others. And so I don't want to create generalized statements about indices, but I do think that capital activity is going to start to come back this quarter, where people are going to start to think about what to do rather than pull everything out because of the massive shift that's happened in the past couple of quarters.